So how does that work when we find the broken piece of your spirit and bring it back? How does it get back in your body? How do you keep it there? Those are really good questions. And I know, yes, again, this sounds crazy, but it actually happens. So we go and we find the piece. Oftentimes it looks the same age as when it broke off. So if a piece breaks off in childhood, it's going to look very much like the child it remembers itself to be. Remember, it doesn't have any more life experience beyond the experience that caused it to fracture. I did a soul retrieval for a client a couple of weeks ago, and what was interesting is she said that the reason she needed this to be done, I don't ask for specifics, but she said that the reason that she needed it to be done is that she didn't feel like she was able to set boundaries, important boundaries in her relationships, and felt like she was being taken advantage of and unable to say no to things that logically she knew she needed to be saying no to and have very, very strong boundaries around, but she couldn't do it. We were able to find the piece of her. It was a teenage piece, and that piece told us, I'm here protecting her. And when we had her look around and realize that she was the only one that was being protected, and that because that strong, ferocious piece of this young woman had broken off when it did, it had been there thinking it was protecting the whole for decades and didn't realize that it wasn't with the whole anymore. It thought it was holding its ground. So in this situation, we were able to explain to her what was going on. We took the piece back to the client. In my journey, I saw the client sitting on a chair in what I'm assuming is her living room. And this younger piece of herself walked up to her and she looked over at me like, is this me? And I nodded. And she gave me this look of resolute, okay, and stepped into her own body. Before we left, it was the young girl's eyes looking out at me, not the person's who had hired me to do the soul retrieval. So I don't often get to hear what happens after this with clients. I offer them the option of therapy. I can recommend a therapist who is, like I said, going to believe the process that we're going through. My therapist has not been one of my clients, but I know that she strongly believes in everything that I practice. So we also offer, we by me, I mean me, I don't know why I said we, it's me and my guide, to stay with the client for as long as they need it. So if that means follow-up questions or aftercare, sometimes reintegrating a piece that's broken off brings up all of the emotions that piece had when it broke off. So remember, it's stunted at the spot where it broke. And it's up to the whole person to reintegrate that piece that they now have back. In this particular situation, what I caution the client they might feel is a sense of tug of war in their own mind. That now this piece of them, who was resolute and strong and a protector and totally capable of making boundaries, was back in and is going to want to be in charge. Now that she realizes that she wasn't part of the whole for all this time, she's going to want to make up for lost time and start setting boundaries. And the client that exists, that has existed without this piece for as long as she has, this is going to feel really foreign. So my advice to her was, let this younger piece of you have the wheel. Let them take control until you start to feel that this is actually you, because this is you. This is a piece of you that is now back in the whole. So it's a process. It's a process of reintegrating. Do they always stick around? Not always. Sometimes we have to go back a couple of times. That hasn't happened very often, but it is a potential, and I do let people know that. This is something that I'm going to incorporate into my death midwife practice. Again, I see my role in my community as someone who's there to help heal, not me, but as an intermediary with my guide and everyone else's guides. So I feel an obligation to provide that when folks need it. I find it fascinating. I too am a bystander to the work. I'm just the mouth, remember? So being able to participate in stuff like this is really an honor for me and not something that I'm ever probably going to just take for granted.